Hi, everybody. I am Brandon Sewell. I am the owner of Seal Pro Painting and the host of the Off the Ladder podcast. And we exist to help home service business owners learn so that they can lead well and ultimately live life off of the ladder. Welcome to today's episode. This is going to be a solo episode with me, your host, Brandon Sewell. Today's topic, I want to kind of dive into how you, as a home service professional, can leverage your relationships with your vendors and even the manufacturers of your tools, etc., to make more money. Now, this is not going to be probably for most of you, something where it takes over your current income, but it's one of those things where you can make the money, so why not? If you can learn how to do it, then why not implement it and make some extra money? So, we'll dive into what I've done with my home service business and how I've created partnerships with my vendors as well as manufacturers to make more money and even save money in the long run for my business. So this really all starts with social media. Now, you as a business owner, maybe you've been avoiding posting on social media. You are afraid to turn the camera around and put your face on the camera. Maybe you are not sure of how all of this works and how you can tackle getting yourself out onto social media in a way to create revenue. And so I just want to share a little bit of my story. Now, there are influencers who do this at a larger scale and who make a lot of money doing this. I would be considered like a micro influencer. So I don't make necessarily huge amounts of money, but it's nice to have that little side income based on what I've done. Now, really, some of this is just common sense, right? When you post on social media, you can create influence. You can create a following. You can create, a community of people who are listening to your voice, watching your success and how you do things. And in turn, they might want to implement some of the things that you are doing to be successful. And what you want to do is you want to capitalize on those opportunities. So if somebody is looking to you for your expertise and your experience as a home service professional, you can share things with them like, who are you using as a CRM to run your business? You can share things like, what vendors are you working with and what are those relationships and partnerships like and how are they benefiting you? And then to the manufacturer of your equipment, if you're using specific tools that you really like that are providing results that your followers like and respect and want to duplicate, then you can leverage all of those different relationships. So a few years ago, what I started doing is I started using the software called Jobber for my business. Now, I really loved this software. It helped me to run my business more efficiently, helped me to get organized, helped me to scale my business faster and to grow, and really do a lot of the things that I didn't like doing in my business, like managing the data and entering stuff into spreadsheets and all of those things. It was stuff I just really did not like to do. And so Jobber really streamlined all of that. Now, all I did was, as a natural response to my passion and excitement for using Jobber, I shared about it on my social media channels. Now, what this really turned into was Jobber reaching out to me and asking me to be a brand partner with them. And really, what that comes down to is I am incentivized to share about Jobber, which I was already doing. I'm incentivized to get other people to sign up, which I do get paid. So if you're listening to this and you're one of those people who listen to the podcast or has followed me and you have started using Jobber, I really appreciate that. I get paid for that, and it helps to support this podcast and everything that I do. So I get paid commissions. I get paid monthly with the expectation that I will share content. I've also had other paid opportunities with Jobber to film commercials, had them travel here multiple times to create content with their team. And I've even traveled with them to Nashville to do a podcast where they've taken care of me and paid me for that. Those are all, things that have been a huge value add to me as a small business owner. And I love that relationship that I have with Jobber. And it's a no brainer to do that because I'm already sharing about it. I'm already using them. And I'm already telling people about it. So why not turn it into an opportunity to get paid for putting Jobber out there? So this could just be really the term for this is called affiliate marketing. So you're an affiliate of that brand and you are marketing for them and sharing about their product. And who better to voice the all of the things about Jobber than someone who is actually using the product. So it really benefits Jobber and it benefits me. And obviously those who decide to use it too. That's one example of how I have leveraged, that partnership to increase my income. Now, the other thing that I had mentioned were your vendors. So, obviously, we use Sherwin-Williams products, and we use other products as well for our paint projects. But our number one partner for our paint is Sherwin-Williams. And when basically what happens is the more that you grow your business, the more money that you spend with that vendor, the more valuable you are going to become to that vendor. So if you are one of the top companies in your area that is purchasing from that vendor, then you are going to have the ability to leverage the weight of your account, how much revenue are you producing for that vendor. So what we've done is we understand and we know that we are one of the larger residential accounts for Sherwin-Williams in our area. So what does this mean? Well, we're going to go to them and we're going to use that to negotiate things in our favor. Now, this works out great for Sherwin-Williams because we continue to use their products. We continue to sell more jobs using their paint, and they end up benefiting too. So it's not like it's a one-way street. But we go to our vendors and we'll ask them to help with things because the reality is we're a small business and we have expenses. And if our vendors can do things to help us and strengthen our relationship, well, then that's going to want us to continue to work with them and use their products. So what we've done is we've gone to the table with Sherwin-Williams and we asked them, hey, what can you do to help support us? We've had them do things like, help make co-branded shirts, co-branded presentation folders for our clients, co-branded yard signs and, door hangers, and the list goes on, just any type of print marketing materials that you can think of. And those things help to offset our costs. So if I don't have to spend X amount of dollars on shirts, yes, they're going to be co-branded. They're going to have Sherwin-Williams on them and have our company, but why not? They're one of our partners in our business. And when I say partners, I just mean that in the terms of like working together. And not that they're actually a part of our business, but partnering with them in that sense. And so if they can help offset any of those costs, that's saving us money. But it's also strengthening the relationship of that business partnership that we have with our vendors. And you can apply that to, whatever vendors you have, in your trade. So you can kind of look across the board and whatever suppliers, or whatever you have for your business in your trade, be looking to leverage those relationships. And obviously that gives you incentive to grow too, because the bigger your company is, the more influence and bargaining power you're going to have. I just had a conversation with my Sherwin-Williams rep, and I said, "Hey, what level do I need to get to where I can have more, bargaining power with Sherwin-Williams?" Because the reality is just as you grow, you become more valuable for that vendor. Because you're spending a lot of money with them, so you should be able to put some pressure on them to help you, because you're really a big part of their business. Now obviously Sherwin Williams is a international company, so we're just like a small piece, really 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 small piece of the pie, but in our area we could be a good market share. So definitely leverage those relationships. And then well, I kind of already captured this, like with your tools, like, um, if you're out there, and you're on jobs and you're using different, tools to get the job done, you can create content and product reviews, based on the equipment you're using. So if you're a painting company and you're using different sprayers, you could be doing like a product review on the Titan, or Graco, or whatever other manufacturers there are, and do a review of their equipment. When they come out with new stuff, review that. Now, in the beginning, it may be an investment for you to purchase the equipment and create the reviews and create the content. But what naturally happens is as you share on social media about those products, and those manufacturers, the reach that you're going to create is what matters. So if you're posting on your social media and you grow your following on social media and you're getting more impressions on your content, well, now you have leverage to go to that manufacturer and say, "Hey, who do I need to talk to about a brand partnership where maybe you guys can supply us with some free equipment?" And in turn, what we'll do for you is we'll create free content to market and advertise these products. And then who knows, maybe you can even negotiate a commission on the sale of that equipment if you create like an online e-commerce store. Now you could, build out an e-commerce platform where you are pushing the different products that you use in your business, selling that to your followers, because now you've created influence. Now they purchase that, and now you're making money off of it too. So, what I really want to try to do with this episode is get you to think creatively. Now, this could turn out to be where you're getting free equipment. Your vendors are helping you purchase print marketing for your company. It could turn into getting free software or having that supplied. And think of the savings there that you have for your business, where now you have more money that you can take and allocate towards other things in your business to help you grow and scale faster. So anyway, get creative, think about those, get strategic. What are the things that you need for your business, that you could start talking about, that you could start creating content about, and then push those things, and then reach out to those partners and create something that's going to benefit you and them. And there's so many different possibilities there, but it really just starts with you turning the camera around and being bold. Take the time and the opportunity to create more content. And that can be really uncomfortable, but you just got to get started. Now, when I first started making content, I had I made a decision. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get started. It's like anything else, like starting your business. You have to decide, like, I can either keep thinking about doing this or think about how it could go wrong or the fact that I'm not, going to be good at it. And I can let all of those things keep me from getting started. Or I can say, hey, you know what? I the hardest thing I need to do is start. So I'm just going to get started. And it's maybe not going to look amazing in the beginning. It's not going to be polished. It's not going to look super professional. But guess what? It's going to be real and it's going to be you and it's going to be authentic. So just start where you're at. With this podcast, I just made the decision. You know what? I've wanted to do this for years. I can keep talking about it and, thinking about doing it, or I can just get started. It may not be perfect. I might not have all the most expensive equipment. I might not have a, amazing recording studio and all of that stuff. But guess what? I can start, and I can start with what I have, and I can be consistent, and I can watch it grow and get better over time. And that's all I've done. And that's all I'm hoping for, is that over time, just being consistent and sticking with it, that eventually I can upgrade my equipment. I can create a better studio, create a better experience, make it more professional, have better guests, really level up the content. And, none of that is possible if you don't get started. So all of these things that I'm talking about aren't possible unless you get started. And this, in all reality, it took me years of posting on social media and creating content before I ever started getting paid for it or monetizing it. And I think, when you watch influencers on social media, whether they're micro influencers like myself or, influencers who are literally making their entire career on social media, not just doing it like I am kind of as a side thing, but those who are doing it full time, they just got started, and they're consistent. And that's all I did. I was like, you know what? Just get started and be consistent. So um that's what I would recommend you do. It's not like an overnight thing. Micro influencers that have turned it into something full time. It's not like it's like you start posting and it like just happens. It's a creating the content, being consistent, and over time it pays off to do that. So, just again, just get started with it. Um, Now, there are some things that you can do, and there's things that I can, recommend, but um, you don't need much to really get started. Um, when I first got started making content, I did a couple things, like obviously having a good phone. So like I had a decent iPhone to create content, and iPhones actually can create really high quality videos and pictures. So an iPhone is really good for that. And then the other thing I did is like for audio purposes, like when I was on the go creating videos, is I wanted the audio to be better than just what was from my phone. So I purchased a Rode Wireless Go, is what it's called. So this is the Rode Go Wireless 2. I can plug this into my phone. This is, I guess, what you would call the receiver, and then this is the mic. Now I have two mics and this, so I can do like interview style with these. I can use just one single mic, but either way, this helps to make the audio better if I'm out on like a job site. This is also this helps with reducing like the wind noise and things like that. So having that on there helps the audio to be better. Um, I forget what this thing's called, but anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that. If your audio, it's like those fuzzy things. I forget what they're called, but anyway, they help to um, make the audio clear when it's like loud or there's background noise or there's wind, and reduces all of that. So anyway, I got started with my phone and these, and then the other thing I got um, is this thing. This is called the Insta 360. Now, obviously, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can't see this, but this is a gimbal for my iPhone. So, what it does is it stabilizes. So, when I'm creating videos out on the field or at job sites, it just makes it to where I can walk around and I can use this. It stabilizes my phone and I can create better quality videos with this that aren't like shaky or unstable. So I got that gimbal, and then I can also set it up as a tripod. Um, so for creating content out on the in the field on job sites and stuff, I can use that. Um, it's really cool for creating like creative shots. The other thing I like about it is that it has the ability to follow you. So you can set it up as a tripod, put your phone on it. You can have it detect you and then lock onto you so that you can kind of like walk around and move, and it's going to stabilize and follow you to create some pretty cool shots. So I have some reels and stuff that I've made using this for Jobber, and they've turned out pretty cool. And it makes it to where you can create content. You don't need somebody to film you. You can film yourself, and you don't have to like hire an expensive, videographer, because you can just set this thing up, have it detect you and follow you, and that's really come in handy. So that's really what I got started with. And then as far as like creating the videos, I would just use an app on my phone called InShot. Now there's a lot of different apps out there that you can use for editing your videos for social media, but that's what I used. So I'd go in there and I'd put the videos in and edit them, and create different stuff for my brand partners. And yeah, so that's all I had to get started. It's not like you have to go out and buy like a super expensive camera and really expensive mics and all of that. You can get started with just those couple things. And I would say, even if you feel like you don't have the money to invest in those few things, I think like the mics were maybe like uh, $300, and then that gimbal for my iPhone was probably about the same. And that's what I got started with. But if you don't have that, just get started with your phone. Just get started. And then you can create better content as you go, invest and buy some of that equipment. Now with my podcast, I'll talk about that. Maybe some of you on here listening are interested in creating a podcast. And the way the podcast works is obviously like it's another way for me to create influence, to share about the things that are working for me and my business. And then hopefully those of you who are listening want to implement those things. So that gives me the ability to talk to you guys about things like Jobber and NiceJob and CallRail and the payroll provider that we use, Gusto, and I have affiliates for all of those, and so I can get paid when people sign up. So you can do the same thing for your business. Now, maybe you're listening to this and you've wanted to start a podcast. Maybe you're in an industry where you feel like you have some value to add, and you want to talk about something and bring some value to the world, and you want to do that through a podcast. I cannot tell you how hard I thought it was going to be in the beginning to start a podcast, and the reality is that it's not very hard. I would say that even if you chose to do just audio, it's incredibly easy. What's a little bit more challenging is doing the video, because there's more editing with that has to take place. But let me kind of talk about what I use for doing my podcast. And what you need to get started. So obviously, you're going to need a computer, somewhere that you can record the content and where that content can live. So have a good computer. Now, whatever computer you do have, you do want it to be a decent computer with enough memory, and storage and processing capability to do something like a podcast. So definitely, you would want to. It would be ideal to have a decent computer. My personal opinion is that Mac is the best. So I've just got a MacBook Pro, and that's what I use to record the podcast on. And then, in addition to that, you want to have a decent camera. Now, my recommendation is that you get something that can record in 4K, but at the absolute least, the minimum would be 1080, so that it's 1080 is going to be like, great for YouTube and doing a podcast on YouTube, etc. But my preference is 4K. So I had, initially, when I started my podcast, I went out and I bought a Sony A6000, I believe what it is. But unfortunately, for some reason, it the software used to turn it into a webcam stopped working on my computer, and so there's like a compatibility problem now, and it won't work. So I went out and bought a webcam. It's just a Logitech. It's a 4K mounts on the top of my MacBook Pro. That's what I'm recording with now, and that's what I use for the podcast. And then third, you will need a mic. Now, obviously, like the gold standard of mics. Goodness, I can't even remember what it's called right now. But let me see if I can look it up. Best podcast mic. It's the Shure M. I think it's called the M. Is it MV7? Anyway, it's a mic by Shure. Oh, the Shure SM7 EB. That's what pretty much all the big podcasters have. What I have is a Yeti Nano, and that's been good enough for me. So, but anyway, investing in a mic so that you can have better audio, a better experience for your listeners. That's what I would recommend. And, my goal is to eventually upgrade that to a Shure SM7B, and increase that quality of sound. And then the other thing you want to have is some decent noise canceling headphones. Now, why this is important is if you're recording with a guest or recording in general, you don't want there to be feedback. So, for example, if I was recording a guest, what would end up happening is as they're talking, if the sound is coming out of my computer, then it's going to go back through my own mic, and then it can create like an echoing effect or whatnot for the listeners. They're going to hear that echoing. So by having the headphones, the sound is going to come through the headphones, and you'll listen here, opposed to your external mics or exterior speakers on your computer, and make sure that sound experience is going to be better. So, computer, camera, mic, headphones, and then I would recommend having some lighting. So, basically, what you want to have is you want to have white light that is in front of you, preferably kind of coming on a downward angle and lighting your face and your body. And then what you want to have is light coming in from the side. So you can't see it, but off camera, I have a light off to the right side, and it's hitting this side of my body, but it's not as intense. It just helps to kind of create like an outline of my body. And then you have the backlighting, just for kind of like depth as well as creating some type of like mood or setting for the podcast, right? So you have your backlight, side light, and then your white light coming in from here. And even better over time would be to have lights above head as well. Um, and I'm not an expert on lighting by any means, but through some research, I just understand that those are some ways to create good lighting for your podcast. And in reality, like if you can't even invest in those things, which honestly, these lights are not very expensive. I bought the ring light that's here from Best Buy, I think, relatively inexpensive. And then my other lights behind me and the light off to my right, I got those at Walmart and they were pretty cheap. Um, but I also added some of those things over time. Um, so have all of those things: computer, camera, speaker, headphones. A good computer, your lighting, um, and then the other thing you're going to want to have is the software that you're going to use to capture the content. So when I first started my podcast, I used Zoom. Uh, I would just record in Zoom, and then I would pull the audio and the video from there. Now I use a platform called Riverside. So I record in Riverside. Once I'm done, it exports that into a video file, audio file, separate tracks for each person. Pretty much everything is individual. It also gives me a transcript. It gives me my show notes. It gives me everything that I need to create the podcast. So everything that gets uploaded and posted is from Riverside. Now, I can send out invites to my guests from here so they can join into Riverside and record. Now, after this is all recorded, I need two other things. I need a place to edit the video podcast. So simple enough, I just use iMovie on my computer, and I drag and drop all of my content into there, and then that creates my video podcast. So I create a intro on Canva. I create an outro for the podcast. So if you watch this on YouTube, you'll see the intro slide, and then the podcast starts. That's everything from Riverside. And then I have the outro, which was created in Canva. I drag and drop that into iMovie. So now I have my intro, my content, and my outro, and then that's it. I put some music in the beginning and the end, and that's as simple as that. Save it. And then what I do is I take that and I upload that to YouTube, and then I take the audio version and I take the audio and I put that into a software called Buzzsprout. Now, basically, what Buzzsprout is Buzzsprout is just a host for the podcast. So I just upload the audio there. I can put my title in, put in the description of the podcast, put all my affiliate links that get added into the show notes. I can put my show transcript. I can create my mid-roll placements for my ads for like Jobber, CallRail, NiceJob, and all my affiliates. And they have a nice app where I can go in and look at my podcast, and I can see my stats for each one, see my downloads. So this, for those of you who are looking, this is kind of what the app looks like. So it shows all the different episodes. I can see, like all-time stats. I can go into each individual episode and look at those. But this is the app that I use, Buzzsprout, for managing the audio. And you can use Buzzsprout to put your podcast out onto all of the major podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, and the list goes on. I don't even know all of them. You just go in and you connect everything. They tell you click on each podcast platform, and it'll give you instructions on how to post or connect your podcast to that platform. So you follow that, get them all set up, and there you have it. You have your video podcast on YouTube, and you have your audio podcast on all the major podcast platforms. And that's how I do my podcast. Um, it probably sounds really complicated and maybe really overwhelming, but it's not. Um, and one thing that I will say is that I have a little bit of experience. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily like professional level, but I do have a background in graphics. And so I'm familiar with graphic design and things like that. Um, I worked as a graphics director for 2 years. I have experience in Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, all those things. Um, but I use Canva now because it's just super easy and simple. So Canva's pretty easy. You can use templates or you can create your own stuff. If you're a creative and you know how to lay out your content and stuff, then you can create stuff from scratch on there. If you need some help, they have templates. So that's great. Um, and then I just I have that as like a strength for me. A little bit of a creative background, so it helps me to create content. What I will say is that it does and it doesn't matter. I would say it doesn't matter in the sense of like getting started. So maybe you're not super skilled in those areas, but don't let that stop you from getting started, because you can get started, kind of get some momentum. Maybe as you make some money or make like your first commission from an affiliate or brand partner, you take some of that money and you start paying somebody to create content for you, whether that's like the graphics or whatever, doing the video editing to create a better experience for your listeners. But the big thing that I really want to emphasize is just getting started. Don't focus so much on being like, thinking that everything that you make has to look like it came from a movie, or like you have to look like you're the most amazing graphics person in the world. Like, just get started and be authentic and be yourself, and people are going to relate and connect with that. And that's just how it works. Getting started and putting yourself out there. So you don't know what's possible with it. Like when I initially started this, I never would have imagined that Jobber would be flying, their team from Canada to Florida to film me, my company, and using it for Jobber content. I never would have even dreamed of that. I never would have dreamed that I'd have the ability to be flown out to Nashville and be on a podcast, the Masters of Home Service podcast. I never would have dreamed that I would be able to get paid to create the content that I do, and to be rewarded for getting people signed up. It's awesome. And it's just like icing on the cake. Obviously, I have my business. That's my main source of income. But it's nice to make this extra money on the side doing this stuff. And it's like, why not? So those are that's everything that I wanted to share with you guys today. Maybe take a second, sit down, maybe listen to this podcast, take some notes. Obviously, you can pick out some main points from the show notes, but sit down, get a piece of paper out, get on your computer, open up a document, get on your iPad or tablet, and just jot down create some ideas of like, how could you start leveraging the different partnerships in your business to get paid for those opportunities. I think the harder thing, I will say this, the harder thing to understand and know is what you should be paid. And I'm not really going to get into that right now, or talk about that, or talk about exactly how I'm paid by my different partners. But that is definitely something harder to kind of understand, and what you should expect or how much you should make. I'm fortunate enough that I've paid for coaching to understand that and to get some sort of understanding of how that works and what I should expect from my partners. But you know, that's um, that's something that you'll learn over time. And I would say don't let it stop you from getting started. But I would also say don't devalue yourself. If you have expertise, you're worth it. Kind of just thought of this too as like a random thing. I've it also this whole thing has led to me being a consultant for a company called Alpha Sites. So basically, what they do is they connect experts in different industries or things with their clients who are looking to get educated, maybe for like investment purposes. Like one of their clients is looking to invest in a company or a industry, and they're wanting to understand it better. And they'll come to you and ask you to consult their clients on whatever it is, your industry. I've done consults on how we use insurance in the painting industry, pain points, and things like that, sharing feedback on insurance in our industry. And also obviously field service management softwares, and different things like that. So, it can lead to the ability to consult. It can lead to the ability to coach people and help others out. But anyway, the sky is the limit with that, and definitely be creative and open to the opportunities. I have a meeting today with the founder of a software called MeCard, or MyCard, I think is what they actually call it. It's MI and then card. Um, and you can look that up on the App Store. Check it out. The founder is Ralph Perone. And anyway, I have a talk with him today, and I may potentially have him on the podcast to talk about that. But it's essentially a software that is used for network marketing. It's basically like a digital business card that you can share with others, but there's also an affiliate aspect to it that as you share and I believe get more people to use the product, you can get paid for that as well. So affiliate marketing is a powerful thing. It's great for you as the user and the one doing the affiliate marketing, but it's also a really powerful thing for the person who is selling the service or the product. So get creative with that and see how you can use your network and your influence to benefit yourself and, like I said, those vendors that you're working with. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode and you got some value out of it. Hopefully it gives you some ideas of how you can increase your income in 2025 with affiliate marketing and brand partnerships. As always, if you are watching this episode on YouTube, please like the video, comment, share your feedback, and then share it with somebody else so that they can learn about this. Lastly, I would say on the YouTube thing is if you want to see more great content like this, please turn on or subscribe to the channel and then turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the future episodes. And then if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please rate and review the show on any of the major podcast platforms. Help us to reach more people and create better content. And again, as I said during the show, all of my partners are listed below in the show notes. And like I said, I do receive credit if you guys decide to use any of those vendors for your business. If you have questions about them or you'd like to get more information, I would love to share with you about them. And all of these services are ones that I use in my own business, and I would only share them with you if I believe in them and use them myself. So these are softwares, these are services that I use, I believe in, I trust. I used them before I was a partner with them, and so I can say with 100% confidence that they will benefit you in your business. And so I appreciate it if you use my affiliate links to sign up. As I said, I do get credit for those. Again, use my links If you use like an external link or something like that, or you go to their website, chances are I may not get credit if you decide to sign up. So please use my links below. You can also support the show with a subscription. I definitely appreciate that as well. If you'd like to connect with me, I would really love to connect with those who listen to the podcast. It would just be an honor to know who is listening, hear your feedback, maybe share with me what you want to learn about. What do you need help with in your business? What content would be helpful for you? That'll help me to bring content that's actually going to help you. Then also find, maybe I can connect with friends of mine, business partners, and things like that to bring guests on who are going to speak to those areas. So please connect. You can actually on here, you can now message the show, or just connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, send me a message, email me at info@brandonsewell.com or brandon@sealpropainting.com. I'd love to connect with you. But anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Off the Ladder podcast, and I'll see you next time.